Okay, so in the previous video we spoke about the OUs and we agreed that the object, let's say the user, can only be set in a specific OU. Good. We cannot put the user in two different OUs. The same way Windows will not allow me to put the file in two folders. In Active Directory, I cannot put the user in two OUs. OUs are for policies, mean change password, update server, change background. This is what we call it policy. But when we talk about permissions, permissions mean how to get access to something. Now, getting access to something is done usually through permissions. We call it permission. Usually we do that through what we call it a group. Good, a security group. So the security group, it's a group where you can put multiple names on it, and then that group itself will have some kind of permission. So, for example, if I want to create a folder and share it so people can access that folder, I'll create the folder, then I will create a group called access to that folder. Then I will set up the sharing of the folder to allow only member of this group to access the folder. Just a member of this group can access the folder. Then I will have the group there. Now the group have nobody, so that means nobody have access to this folder. When I add Hassan to that group, automatically, because Hassan is member of this group and this group have permission to do this thing, Hassan will be able to do it. So I want to add Hassan, I want to add Muhammad, I want to add Mark, I want to add Julie. It's fine. You just add people to the group, as many people as you want. No, you know what? I don't want Hassan anymore in that permission. I don't want Hassan to have access to that folder anymore. You remove him from the group, he doesn't have access anymore. So we will talk about it now, how we will do this and how it will work. So let's talk about our folder. So I will go to the C drive of my computer. And as I said before, we don't do usually folders on the C drive of the server, but because of the training sample, we are doing this. I created a folder called share folders. There is some folders inside. I got a new folder today telling me for payments. Good. So I will do right click, a new folder. I call it payments. Now this folder is being created just right now. Good. There is no permission. There is no setting. It's just a folder. So now I go to my Active Directory. I go to my users and computers. In that users and computer, once it's loaded, I will go to create that security group. Good. Now the security group at the end, it's an object. I can create it under users, but I thought we already agreed that we don't create anything under users. This is the default folder. So what are we going to do now? Then we are going to create here a special OU for them. Under my main OU, top OU, I created an OU called security groups. This is where I'm going to put all my security groups. That way I even have my security group organized. And here I created a subfolder called security group control, access control. This is the group that I use it to control the stuff. It doesn't matter where do you put it here, as long as you do it right. So I will make a new group, and I will call that group access to payments folder. Good. Read only. Good. Leave those options now. We'll talk about them later. It's something that maybe you can Google the difference between this option. It's up to you. Just do it if you can. Access to payments are for read only. And then I will do another one. Access to payment RW, read write. So now I created the two groups, but these two groups do not have permissions yet. I didn't add them to the folder permission. So I'll go back to my folder here. I will go to payment. I will do right click, properties. I will go to share. Here, I click in that small arrow. And I'll choose find people. Now instead of me adding Mark or Hassan or Lean here, I will say add me the access to, he showed me the list. I'll just make it bigger so I make sure that I'm choosing the right OU. And access to payments R and payments RW, both of them. Why did I add both of them? Because the R, I want to give it read only permission. The RW, I want to give it read write permission. So the R have read only, the RW have read write. Good. And I click share. So now these two security groups have permission to access the payments folder. Good. Now, does this group have anybody in them? I will go to the R members. There is nobody in there. I will go to access to RW, members, there is nobody in there. Then, great, that means nobody can access that folder so far. Then I got a request saying Mark want to have read-write access on that folder. Which folder? Payment. So I will go here, where is access to payment? Here it is. I'll open that one, I'll go to members, and I will add Mark. So now Mark is member of this group. Because he's member of this group, he have the permission to do whatever the group does. And this group have read-write, so he have read-write access. Good. Now if they told me I want Lean to have also read-write access, great, I can add Lean. And I can add, and I can add as many people I want. Good. I can do it from here. And also, at the same time, I can do it from here, from users. I can go to Mark, and he want to have access to the salary folder. I can right click on it, properties, and Mark, I'll go to member of. Good. You can see I know now he's member of access to HR read write, access to payment read write. I will add him also access to salary folder. Where is the salary folder? We don't have it here. Project. I'll give him access to the project read only. Good. So now Mark, if I look at Mark name, he have access to HR, he have access to payment, he have access to project. HR and payments, he have read write, project, he have read only. Good. I click OK. Now let's test it. How do we test it? We go to the BC1, which is Mark BC. We log in as Mark. Of course, the computer have to be on the domain to log in as Mark. So I'm logged in as Mark. And how do I see those folders? Where are those folders located? These folders are located on my server. Good. So how do I access my server? I access my server either by name of the server or by the IP address of the server. Good. Either the name or the server. In the labs, the names are too long, so it's getting a little bit annoying. But in here, it's easier for me. So I will say ode-dc1. Good. // the server name, or / same thing. / 192.168.20. whatever my IP address is, .2. So you can do either with the IP address or with that name thing. Now I see all the folders. Now we agreed Mark have read-write access on payments. So if I open payments and I create here new thing, he have read-write access on payment. But on project 1, oh sorry, project 1 is not shared. My mistake. I don't even have the folder. Sorry, my mistake. Yeah. So project 1 sharing. I will give him the access. So access to project 1 read and write and RW. The RW will have read write. Okay. Now for the project 1, we added Mark to the read only permission. So he can open it, but he cannot create anything inside. Good. He have no permission to create anything inside. So he can open it. So if I created a Word document here or a text document on the server, if there is a document on the server, Mark will be able to see it, and he will be able to open it, and he will be able to write, but he try to save, he will get error message that you don't have permission to save, and he asks him to save it somewhere else. Good. He doesn't have permission to do that. Now if I go back to the main folder, so Mark have access to payments and to HR and to project. He doesn't have access to football. If I open the football folder, he will get no access. He cannot see what is inside it. Why? Because I didn't add Mark to the folder, to the security group that allow him to have access to the football. Good. So when I go here to see Mark, member of, he only have access to HR, access to payment, access to project 1. Good. If I want to give him access to football, I will have to go here, find the group that's called access to football, and add him to that group. Good. So this is how it works. Okay. So I add him. Now manager call says, you know what? Stop. I don't want Mark to have access to payment anymore. Okay, done. I will go to Mark. I will go to member of payment group and I will remove him. Good. So I just remove him from here. I click OK. The minute I remove him, if he try to open payments, it will take a few seconds for the server just to refresh the policy. But if he open it, he will not be able to access it. Just have to take a few seconds until it's do the syncing. Okay, so usually within 1 minute it will happen. So the folder now, he have no access to it. So after a few seconds or a few minutes, when the server refresh, double click on the payment, he cannot access it. If I go back and I add him to the group, he can access it. So this is how we create a group. This is what the benefit of the group. Of course, when you're talking about this for folders, it applies for everything else. It applies for the printers, it applies for the services, it's applies for the database, it's applies for the information, for the security, for the records, for the updates, anything on the server, you can control it with the permission through groups. So that's the benefit of the groups. You can create as many groups as you want, and the same user can be in multiple groups. So the user can be in group 1, group 2, group 3, and I can keep adding him to as many groups as I want in that way. When I go to the security groups here, I can, any minute somebody call me, says, Hassan, who have access to the payment folder in read write? I open it, I look at it, I told him only Lean. Good. If he send me an email, says, can you add Lean and Maya and Mahmoud and Muhammad and Saeed to the payment? I double click here. I go to members, I click add, and I put all the names, Lean, Maya, Saeed, whatever the names, I put them here. I click OK, he added them. Good. So this is how we create the groups. So you have your resource, and in our example, our resource was a folder. Good. Then we created the proper security group, and we can call it whatever. If you don't want to call it access to, it's up to you. But usually there is a proper naming convention that you follow. In some organization, they go very deep naming, strong naming, and other organizations up to whatever the naming convention, regardless about the name of the group, as long as you can know which one is read write, which one is read, and you understand this, you can just let people join the group. Good. Now, in the next video, we're going to talk about who decide who can access what. That's a different story. We will record it on the next video.